I thought I'd just bring in something simple I was working on. We can see how it sounds on individual instruments and maybe on the mix. So let's take a listen here. Yeah, so it's just kind of a 80s synthwave thing I'm working on. Yeah, sounds alright, but let's go to where the snare kicks in. Now sitting here on my headphones, this sounds kind of good and balanced to me, but let's switch to a A/B comparison with a commercial mix and see how it stacks up. Yeah, so you can hear right away that my mix sounds kind of dark. The snare definitely not as bright. And I mean, you never really, unless you're making a karaoke track, it's not like this is going to sound exactly like a song by the Midnight. These are different songs, but this commercial mix is giving me an idea of what I'm missing in the mid-range and highs. Or the lows even. These guys are great. They get a lot of power out of the low end without somehow not destroying subs. Alright, so let's fire up Fresh Air first off here, because Fresh Air offers a mid-high band and a very high band. And, you know, we're not really sure what this is. This is some kind of multi-band exciter, transient enhancer. You know, in a plugin like this, it almost doesn't matter. It's just two knobs here. You can link these, which is cool. Some people are recommending that you link them. That's the way it sounds best, but let's find out if that's true. So let's play the mix here. And dial this up a little bit. Sounds nice. The hats are getting a little sandy. Let's just crank it here. Oh wow, that adds a lot. I mean, that is very bright. Let's switch to our commercial mix. Yeah. Yeah. As you can see, the commercial mix is just doesn't really have any high end that's remotely like that. I realized this was converted from an MP3, but so we got to take that into account, but still, this is something that kind of concerns me about plugins like this. I kind of worry about new mixers getting fixated on high end. Like, you know, people talk about like smooth high end and the beautiful high end on professional mixes, and you want to get that glistening gossamer glow on your mixes, and people obsess over this. And I find when you really sit down and listen to a mix, there just isn't that much going on in the high end often. You know, I'm not saying ignore it, but in super processed pop mixes, they often crank a lot of high end, especially on female vocals. Like if you're listening to Ariana Grande or something like that, they definitely, you know, they're doing some boosting on the high end. Although, but I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to capture most of that in the microphone anyway. So I guess the bottom line is, I remember when I first started out, I was often fooled by plugins that are offering you like magic high end on the mixes. So you know, not to put down these plugins, exciters definitely have their purpose, but I just worry about, you know, a kind of a nice plugin like this coming out for free. A lot of guys are just gonna grab it, slap it on their mix, and think everything's fixed, but now they're introducing a lot of like unkind high end to the mix. So next up we have Bertom Audio's Air Shelf. This is a freebie that got released right around the same time as Fresh Air, And there's a great company, Simple Plugins, that just work. I advise you to check it out. It's pay what you want, so support a independent developer. So this is basically a very high shelf boost. So it says high shelf boost centered around 20 kilohertz and fully decramped up to 21 kilohertz. I won't go into decramping, but that's essentially digital EQs that aren't compensated for can start losing their shape the closer they get to Nyquist. So the closer they get to the upper frequency of your sample rate, they'll often warp and you'll get a phased response from the EQ. It's kind of an undesirable thing. Now, once again, this is happening at very, very high frequencies. It's not a huge concern most of the time. Most of us aren't and shouldn't be doing lots of boosts around 20 kilohertz. But if you do a high shelf, even lower down and turn it way up, you are boosting frequencies that high. So it's something to think about. But so anyway, so this is essentially a high quality, high shelf filter. Interesting thing about this one is and I think this is actually a little more exciting than an ultra high shelf filter, is that it has something to tame high frequencies with, and this can come in handy for people who are boosting all over the place, or you just have a signal that's too hot, a mix that's gotten too hot, vocals, maybe some de-essing or something. So this can tame that which it creates, so that's kind of interesting. Let's see what it does for a mix here. Okay, yeah, so you can hear those hats getting real sandy. It's bypass. Oh, there we go. It's like 20 dB of gain. Okay, so now my ears are getting used to this. This is almost starting to sound good. Let's switch back. Let's switch back to the song and get a reality check on our high end. Okay. Switch back. I mean, check that out. Like the commercial track has nothing like that. So let's take my raw mix back against the commercial. I mean, the commercial sounds kind of muddy after we do all that boosting. You can hear this is just only affecting the very, very highest frequencies. It's just going to make hi-hats and overheads annoying. I don't know. I don't know if I would find much need for this ever. Maybe if you wanted to get an ultra breathy vocal with jazz or something like George Michael's first album, like Father Figure, songs like that, just had that super breathy voice. Maybe, but I just don't see a need for a boost this broad. Now, on the other end, let's see how the tame works. Let's just do like a really crass boost on something here. Let's group these drums. Let's do an obnoxious high shelf. There you go. Now we got some obnoxious drums. So let's activate the tape, see if we can tame this. It's not bad. Let's go a little higher. Compare this to the commercial mix. And once again, you should never do this to your drums. Let's go all the way up here. I mean, that's pretty great. That's if you were a fool and you did this to your drums, this might be a way out. Like maybe if someone sent you a mix and the drums are just printed with a horrible EQ on it. This might be a way of soothing it. It's interesting. Yeah, so I think the Tame here is doing some kind of multi-band de-essing type work here, which is, I mean, it's probably a similar thing. Like de-essing usually has some kind of multi-band EQing and compression and even transient stuff going on to preserve the input. This could be something to really experiment with. I might try this on a voice sometime. I mean, geez, you could even do like a Pultec type thing where you boost the high end to get more shimmer, and you could tame it here. Who knows? Be something to look into. So I would say at the end of the day, I'm not too crazy about Fresh Air. I like that it centers on the mids, although I still find it's pretty high. So I was going to say, I'm not crazy about using Fresh Air on full mixes. I don't think I would ever use it like that, and I really don't like the high end much on complex material. And with the Air Shelf, yeah, I wouldn't use this too much, but I think this could be fun to experiment with, especially using them in tandem on a voice. Could get some cool results. But anyways, you have some options here. It's kind of neat. This one, you can cover your mid-range. In this one, you could cover your ultra high end and actually fixing issues with the high end. So you have some good options here. I'd recommend getting them both. I feel like Fresh Air is going to be more for individual instruments, and this might be more for voice, things like that. All right, so that wraps it up. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Pale Blue Dot Videos. Bye.